And a pleasant good evening again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Coach's Corner here on Beaver County Radio and Facebook Live. And tonight we're being joined by the head coach of the Beaver Falls Fighting Tigers, now in his fifth season at the helm, Nick Nardone. I'm Bob Barrickman, and we also have one of Nick's players coming on a little bit later in the show, one of our CCBC players of the game in Trey Singleton. He won the award last Friday night in Beaver Falls' win over New Brighton. And since we're talking about New Brighton and Trey Singleton, pretty solid performance. We broadcasted the game, of course, Coach, and welcome again to the Coach's Corner. And I guess there's a little bit more of a smile on your face. You've won 2 in a row after dropping your first 3. But do you, is it just a matter of things just starting to come together for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. It's always a good time coming here. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of the perfect storm to start the season. We were figuring ourselves out, figuring our identity out, and what kind of team we were, losing what we lost last year, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And to throw into that, you're playing Blackhawk, you're playing Aliquippa, and you played a very good Laurel team. We took our lumps, but we're starting to get a good feel of what this team is capable of. And the last 2 weeks, we've really started putting things together on both sides of the ball. And we're happy with where we're at. And I think if we continue to progress throughout the season, we have a good chance of being very competitive again.
Let's talk about that New Brighton game. The game, it was close for a while, but then you were able to pull away a couple big second half touchdowns, and you beat your arch rival, the Little Brown Jug. I mean, you've been here for a few years. Is it that big of a deal now, the Little Brown Jug, or is it just a matter of, hey, we got to win because we want to get in the playoffs and we got to beat our next opponent? But how big is the Little Brown Jug these days?
A little bit of both. It definitely, our kids go into that game playing against New Brighton their whole way from youth on up, and being with the proximity of both towns and how close our kids know their kids know our kids, and it's definitely a game that we want every year. We want to win that game. We want to make sure that the Jug stays here. But like you said, more importantly, it puts us at 2-1 in the conference, gets us back in the driver's seat for a playoff position, and that's our ultimate goal, is to make the playoffs and try to get a run when the playoffs come around. So it gave us that second win and over a team that's going to be a playoff team. So it was very important that we got this win.
Seems like the landscape has changed somewhat. In years past, it seemed like the Beaver County teams kind of dominated this conference that has half the teams from Lawrence County, half the teams from Beaver County. But it's a little bit different this year, Coach. Last year, of course, you not only won the conference, but you won the WPIL championship. This year, Laurel and Mohawk lead the conference, and your game against New Brighton last week, even though it was only the third conference game of the schedule, you lose that game, and you don't know what happens. I know 5 teams from the MAC get in to the playoffs, but with tiebreakers and all, that was a big game for positioning. Absolutely. Not that you've lost hope for winning the conference. That could still happen. But at the immediate time, it was like, hey, we got to take care of business. We don't want to get in a situation where we're fighting for a playoff berth and then we get knocked out because of a tiebreaker.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like you said, there's a lot of teams. This has been a deep league every year. I mean, even with last year only taking 2 teams, Laurel made it last year, was a very good team. And a lot of people don't remember, but they only lost to Stowe Rocks, who we beat in the championship by 1 point in that first round playoff game. Very, very talented team. And a lot of the games last year, I mean, New Brighton, I believe, lost to Laurel by 2. Neshannock lost to New Brighton by 2. I mean, these games come down to the wire, and it's a very competitive top-to-bottom conference for sure.
And your opponent this week, Mohawk, beat New Brighton by 2 a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
so that goes to show. Coming into the season, of course, last year you had a lot of weapons, and in fact, we're going to be talking to Trey Singleton in a little bit. But the heart and soul of your team was at the running back position, at least offensively. Josh Huff, who is now at Syracuse, Shalik Livingston was a great compliment for Josh. Jaron Brickner was just a sophomore, and but with those two, Livingston and Huff graduating, did you kind of sense that, hey, you're going to have to put the ball, really rely on guys like Jaron Brickner, Trey Singleton, Quadir Thomas, Tyler Kane, even that much more?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, those guys definitely had huge roles for us last year and made big plays in big games. But like you said, we really rode Josh, Shalik, and Tyler for a majority of the season. So it's been fun to kind of find out and find ways to get our new playmakers the ball in different ways. I mean, we've used Trey in the backfield, we used Tyler in the backfield, we've gotten Quadir and Mackay jets, and then obviously we can throw the ball to any of them, and we've got a couple of running backs in Isaiah Ashbacher and Bricks Raw who we've gotten the ball to, and we've used Jaron as a runner a lot. So, right. I mean, we year in and year out, we're blessed with athletes. We just early on, we're trying to find the best ways to get our athletes the ball, and like I said, I think we're starting to figure that out and trying to get these guys all touches because there's so many playmakers on this team. We want them all to get opportunities.
Do you sense the growth in Jaron Brickner? I mean, we always knew that he could throw the ball well, but last year as a youngster, as a sophomore, I'm sure the motto was, Jaron, just manage the game. You got the horses behind you. But now when I see him play, it seems like he's really taken a leadership role. I sense that in that New Brighton game. He utilized all the weapons that he had in front of him, and I expect him to grow as the season continues.
Absolutely, and a lot of people don't realize last year, I mean, yeah, we had Jaron hand the ball off a majority of the time and throw some play action here or there, but we gave Jaron a lot of responsibilities last year in putting us in run plays. He did a lot of audibles last year at the line, and we gave him, as a sophomore, which I was very impressed with, the opportunity to change plays if he saw something. And he continues to do that this year, but we're giving him more of an option to change us to pass plays and to still change the run plays. And he's a very smart, talented football player, and we're blessed to have him, and we'd like to see how he's been improving over the last few weeks with his game.
Well, you have the weapons on the outside now with Trey Singleton and Quadir Thomas, and you got a couple guys who can make some splash plays for you. And because you don't have that, I mean, you have good young backs like you said, Isaiah Ashbacher, Bricks Raw, but you don't have that horse. I mean, not every running back gets to go to Syracuse like a Josh Huff. And Shalik Livingston was a great compliment for him, but you probably sense though that you had to change the schematic somewhat because of the personnel that you have.
Absolutely. I mean, we were I-backs last year. We were extra linemen, extra running backs, extra blockers. Get Josh and Shalik the ball so they can go downhill and get 8 guys, 9 guys blocking for them. I mean, this year we've really spread the ball out a lot more, gotten our guys the ball more in space because that's where they excel. So it's been a big change for all of us, the coaching staff included. So. But we're taking it week by week, and like I said, I think we're starting to find an identity in what we are and what we can do, and we're going to continue to just get better each week, hopefully, and make a run.
Let's talk about the defense. Damian Lee, boy, he was constantly in the New Brighton backfield last week. In fact, he could have very easily won the CCBC Player of the Game. I think every time he started making a threat, Trey kind of sensed that. He says, I got to make another play. But all kidding aside, I mean, he was tough. How's your defense? Are you happy with the progress that you're making on a whole?
Absolutely. And, I mean, you bring up another kid. I mean, he's a sophomore. I mean, we're pretty young on defense. We got some kids out there that got some time last year, but they're stepping into starting roles this year as sophomores up front and at the linebacker position. And we've taken our lumps a little bit, especially, like I said, that Laurel game. We were playing with some young guys and got exposed in a few positions. But, I mean, the heart and soul of our team has been our secondary, and we put a lot of pressure on them because those guys all were starters last year. And we're proud of the way that they've been playing. I mean, I think we had 4 interceptions last game, and they really stepped up since, like I said, we took that bad loss at Laurel. So we're excited about where our defense is. I feel like some of these guys with the game experience are starting to get better, and if we can continue to improve, I'm excited about what we can do.
Let's talk a little bit about. I saw some improvement as the game continued. Seemed like you had those nagging 5-yard penalties early on. Do you chalk that up to youth, or is that just something that you got to clean up and keep addressing as a coaching staff? Guys, we can't be giving up 5 yards. We're not that good.
Yeah, no, I mean, we did a little change to our snap count and our cadence a little bit, trying to keep them, because we knew in certain situations they like to bring in different packages and try to put pressure on you and blitz. So we were trying to change the way our snap count was a little bit, and I think early on, with the early in the game jitters to go along with a new cadence, I think it gave us some trouble. But obviously, like you said, we settled in, and through the second quarter and second half, we were able to avoid those little penalties.
You talked about your opponents beginning of the year, Blackhawk, a 4A team, Aliquippa. I know that's another story, but for the record, it's a 4A team, the conference that they're in. And then Laurel. You know what? I mean, on a typical year, I would say, well, obviously, Aliquippa is the best team you've played thus far. But let me back up a moment. I don't know. I mean, right now, I mean, the way Laurel's been playing, I mean, I know Freedom has been up and down this year, but going into their place, winning 48-0, and then the way they came back and won going away against your club, I mean, you had 3 very tough opponents, and Laurel, well, time will tell if they're the best team in the conference, but the way things are going, it seems like they're the team to beat.
Yeah, they were very impressive. I mean, like I said, that game just kind of got away from us. I mean, we were in good shape. We were doing things that were working well, and we got an early lead. But they were able to get a couple big plays and have some pretty tough running backs. And I think it was like midway through the third quarter, the game kind of got away from us a little bit. But you can't take any credit away from them, Coach Cooper and his staff, and those kids played hard. They practiced. You could tell they were prepared, and hopefully we get lucky enough to get an opportunity to maybe see them again in the playoffs. And if we play the type of football that I think we can play, I think we can make it much closer than what it was.
Do you think with the youth on your team, maybe the schedule was a little bit too demanding for you early in the season? You play 2 4A teams, and then you play Laurel, which could conceivably win the conference. Not to say that Elwood City and New Brighton or stiffs or not up to that caliber, but the schedule did soften a little bit and allowed you guys to grow. But right out of the gate, though, with a young team, you lose your horses up front, you lose your horses at running back. I'm sure that when you looked at the schedule, Coach, you said, "Oh my goodness, why do we have to go through this early when we're trying to experiment a little bit?"
Yeah, I mean, it was tough. Those were good games, but those are great experiences and great learning opportunities for our kids and our team. I mean, I don't think going up against a team that you're going to beat, 40-0 or something like that, necessarily makes your team that much better. But if you go against a competitive team like a Blackhawk and a championship caliber team like an Aliquippa, it prepares you for later on in the season when you face those teams in the playoffs. So, I mean, it was tough, and you always want to win those games, but I think we learned a lot from those losses. I think there was a lot that positives that we took from those losses, and in the end, I hope our kids realize that once we do get to the point where hopefully we're playing some playoff games, we realize and fix the mistakes that we made early on in those games, and don't let that happen again.
Do you miss Aliquippa being in your conference?
I mean, you like the competitiveness. I mean, when that game came, you knew there was going to be a big crowd. You knew that both teams were going to bring their A game, and both teams were going to be playing and fighting until there was no time left on the clock, and that's what you got. I mean, it was a fight. I mean, I thought our kids battled. I thought our kids never gave up, and a couple plays here and there go differently. I mean, I think it could have been a tighter game. So you want to play the best, and and playing Aliquippa, you're always going to get the best. So it was a good experience for us and our team for sure.
We're going to take our first time out. We're talking with Beaver Falls head coach Nick Nardone, coming off a WPIL championship. Talk about that in a little bit. We want to thank Pizza Joe's on 3rd Street in Beaver for providing the refreshments for us again this week. Everybody goes to Pizza Joe's on 3rd Street in Beaver. Want to thank the guys who get the job done backstage, Curtis Walsh and Malik Garrett. We'll be back to talk to Coach Nardone, and a little bit later, one of his star players, and Trey Singleton, who was our CCBC player of the game last week in the win over New Brighton. We'll do that after this break on Beaver County Radio and Facebook Live.
There's something for everybody this semester at CCBC. Whether you're leveling up a career or launching a new life, CCBC has got you covered. In fact, CCBC is straight to you. Your local library is now a CCBC classroom. Build career skills and earn college credit right in your backyard. Check out credit and non-credit classes starting in the near future. Click ccbc.edu/fall for more information. Right place, right time. CCBC is right where you need them this fall.
Did you know that the Grand Valley Inn was voted #1 best overall restaurant in the Best of the Valley Reader's Choice Awards 4 years in a row? Grand Valley Inn also has a fun family trivia night Thursday evenings at 6:30 p.m. The Grand Valley Inn is the place where you can also find the best live music under the heated tents. Call 724-843-9000 for more info or to make your reservation for Air Force One on October 8th for only a $10 coverage charge. Grand Valley Inn. Good food, good friends, and good entertainment.
When you're a superhero, you got big responsibilities. This is the Aquaman of Beaver County, Jim Riggio from the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority. The Aquamen and Aquawomen of the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority really do look after the needs of the community, just like real superheroes. The service we provide really is super, and the dedication of our workers can only be described as heroic. We just don't always wear spandex suits and capes. This is the Aquaman of Beaver County, and I'll keep the water on for you. Click bfwater.net.
When you're looking for the Valley's best eye care, look to Gazzetti Optometric Services, 212 State Avenue in Beaver. Dr. John Gazzetti has over 40 years of patient care experience, including exams, contact lens fittings, cataract, glaucoma and dry eye management, laser vision correction, and sports and sun eyewear. For your best vision, make the best decision. Call Gazzetti Optometric Services at 724-774-7559.
Believe it or not, you can celebrate an international occasion without leaving Beaver County. This is Cindy Haladio from Friendly Federal Credit Union. That's right, we are celebrating International Credit Union Day on October 21st. Come in and find out why credit unions have played such an important role in providing financial services locally and around the world. Meet me and my friendly staff. Click friendlyfcu.org or follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
McGee Heating and Air Conditioning in Aliquippa has been in business for nearly 60 years. Now that's experience you can count on. When you call McGee Heating and Air Conditioning at 724-375-7112, they'll answer your call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Sue Curlin and her winning team service most brands, and McGee Heating and Air Conditioning is locally owned and operated. As always, they wish their best to our local teams. McGee Heating and Air Conditioning, Main Street, Aliquippa. And we return to the Coach's Corner here on WBVP WMBA 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, and Facebook Live. Nick Nardone, who led Beaver Falls to the WPIL championship last season. Coach, again, I know we've talked about it before, but congratulations again. I mean, you know what? You look at all the proud years that Beaver Falls has had, and I believe that this was just the 5th time in school history that the school did win the WPIL championship. So You join a rare group of teams in Beaver Falls lore, and congratulations again.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, last year was such a great experience for the team, for the community, for the school. I mean, it was a shame that it happened during COVID because I really feel like we missed out on some things that a lot of other teams got to enjoy. But you still can't replace the feeling of getting that trophy handed to you and delivering it to the team and watching them celebrate all their hard work that they put in. It was awesome.
A couple weeks ago, Tyler Kane from your club, who was our CCBC player of the game, he joined us in the studio, and I asked him the question. I said, was it winning the championship? Obviously is a great thing for the community, for the players, for the coaches. But I said, but you did it at North Hills. And I asked him, was it a little bit disappointing that you didn't get to do that at Heinz Field because of the COVID situation and all that? He said, yeah, it was a little bit. Mm-hmm. You as a coach, I know you have dreams, and I mean, going out on that field that the Steelers, some of the great Steelers have paraded on, Hall of Famers and Pitt Panthers. How did you feel as a coach? Was it just like, did it make that much of a difference to you?
At the moment, no. I mean, it was when you're like I said, when you're handed that Whitfield Championship trophy and you get the opportunity to hand it to your kids and watch them celebrate, there's no better feeling. Doesn't matter where you're at. But just like looking back after the fact, I was lucky enough to coach with Ryan when we won back in 2016, and the experience for the kids to be in that locker room, to be on that field, it's something that will stay with them. It doesn't take anything away from that Whitfield Championship and how it made me feel as a coach and how proud I was of that group. I just kind of felt bad that they missed out on that little bit more.
Well, I guess this year, if they're so fortunate to get that far, they would get to play at Heinz Field. I think 6A is the only classification that will have to play a week sooner. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, that's down the road. But Coach, you were the defensive coordinator when you won the state championship in 2016. And then Coach Ryan Madsook decided to step aside. You get the head job. Initially, do you think you were ready at such a young age? And you're still a young guy today, 5 years later. Yeah. But at that time, did you feel you were ready really to assume the job with all of the responsibility and expectations? People in Beaver Falls love to see winners. Yeah. That's why they've won so much in the past. Yeah. But how was it initially taking the job over?
It was baptism through fire, for sure. Yeah. I mean, especially that first year, losing as many seniors as we did off of that state team, and a couple kids moved away. It was a tremendous learning experience for me, for sure, and the guys that were on my staff. But we took our lumps that year and really learned a lot about just not only what to do but what not to do, and things that we needed to do to bring the program back to, like you said, the tradition and the winning that people in Beaver Falls expect. So we were lucky enough to get a great group of kids that year that never quit on us and battled and made a commitment to us after the season was over that they were going to bring and help us bring Beaver Falls back to where it was. And the year next, we ended up going all the way to the semifinals and losing to a great state championship Aliquippa team. So we learned from that, and I feel like we've, over the last few seasons, been able to really keep this program at that high competitive level, and we hope to continue to do so.
You mentioned how it was baptism by fire, taking over. You lost a lot of games that following year. Was there ever a point where you thought to yourself, am I ready for this? Or did you stay the course and know that, hey, just hang in there, things are going to get better?
I mean, it was our big eye-opening moment was, I want to say, it was probably not even December after that season that we had a group of juniors that were going to be coming back and we're going to be seniors that that told us that they wanted to start their weightlifting and their off-season conditioning early and start in December. Typically, we wait till after the winter break is over. And when I saw the fight in those kids, especially after the season they had just gone through, it really fueled me and energized me as a coach to let me know that how competitive Beaver Falls kids are and how bad and how much they're willing to do whatever it takes to win. And with that group of kids and what we were able to develop, like I said, over the next 3 seasons, that season last year, I told those guys that were seniors, Josh and Shalik, and them that was a tribute to the guys that took over, the seniors and juniors when Josh and those guys were freshmen, who really showed them the way on how to prepare, how to practice, how to do everything, not on Friday nights, to make sure when the game came that they were ready and competitive and able to win a championship. So it was great.
Coach, I'm sure all coaches, I'm sure, hear the people in the stands. We have a lot of great coaches up in the stands, that's for sure. And of course, I'm being sheepish about that. But did you feel that, I'm sure that you've heard people say, oh yeah, Coach Matsuk would have done this, he would have done that, or whatever. Do you think winning the WPIL championship, did you feel that you needed that to validate your selection as being the head coach of this team?
Not really. I mean, obviously, Ryan was a great mentor to me, and I know what he's done and what he's gone through to get this program to where it is. I more or less just wanted to maintain and continue the tradition that he started. Have a lot of respect for him and a lot of the stuff that he did, like I said, on the field, but more off the field. And my goal was just to make and keep Beaver Falls program respectable, on the field, off the field, always have kids that do things the right way. And I feel like over the last 5 years, we've done a pretty good job of that, of teaching kids not just how to be good football players and to learn the game of football, but how to be good young men and good students, and help them to understand the importance of everything that is being a student athlete. So that was more what I wanted to do. Winning a WPIAL was great, and I can't act like it wasn't something I really wanted, but at the same point, I'm more proud of the fact that we've continued to do things the right way here with kids that want to do things the Beaver Falls way.
You got so close to getting to the state championship game last year. You had the opportunity because of the COVID year, the host, because they didn't want 2 teams traveling to a neutral location. And you lose 20-18, the unfortunate play in the end zone where you get the flag for what happened after a touchdown. And I personally, at the risk of being a homer, it did not seem like it was enough to throw that flag, but it was thrown, and it certainly flipped the game in Wilmington's favor. Not to take anything away from them, they're a very fine football team, but I'm sure that especially the way that you came up short had to have been really a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, you go back and you watch that play 1,000 times, and like you said, I can't imagine too many refs would have thrown a flag on that. But I mean, there were so many things that happened throughout that game, either missed opportunities by us or them making a play here or there that could have also had all kinds of impacts on that game. So it's hard to just look at one play, because there was so much that could have gone differently, and we could have possibly pulled one out. But yeah, it was tough pill to swallow, tough one to forget, just because you were that close to having an opportunity to play for a state championship. But you use that as motivation. You know what I mean? We talked to the kids all off season about being that short, do everything, whether it's a rep on a bench or a route or a drill in practice, do it that much harder to make sure that doesn't happen again. So if the opportunity does present itself and you have an opportunity, you make it next time. So.
All right. Well, hopefully for your sake, that opportunity will come again. Yeah. We're going to take a timeout. We're going to bring in Trey Singleton, one of the stars of this year's Tiger team. Not that he wasn't last year, because he was, but he's taken an even bigger role in this year's edition of the Fighting Tigers. And we're going to bring Trey in. He was one of our CCBC players of the game last week against New Brighton. We'll talk to Trey after this timeout here on Beaver County Radio and Facebook Live.
The Express Lane would like to remind everyone that a happy car is a healthy car. No one wants to be stranded on the side of the road. That's why your vehicle's routine maintenance is so important. The Express Lane offers great specials that saves you money. Hurry in for the Super Oil Change Special. Includes oil change, rotation, alignment check, multi-point inspection, and car wash. The Express Lane, oil, tires, and service center. Located next to the Beaver Valley Auto Mall.
Did you know that the first Oktoberfest celebrations were held in Munich, Germany in 1810? That's right, for over 200 years, Oktoberfest has been one of the biggest and most popular celebrations of the year. This year, Oktoberfest comes to you at Ambridge Italian Villa. Enjoy favorite foods of Bavarian heritage through the end of October at the place that's famous for bringing the best food from around the world home to Duss Avenue in Ambridge. For a limited time, you can literally take a food tour of most of Europe from the menu at Ambridge Italian Villa. That's because in addition to their famous Italian and Greek selections, the Ambridge Italian Villa will feature German Oktoberfest specials, all available for dine-in, takeout, and even delivery service. Call 724-266-1919 for more information about Oktoberfest specials. It's all going on now during Oktoberfest at Ambridge Italian Villa.
Ambridge Italian Villa, a family tradition with the taste sensation.
There's something for everybody this semester at CCBC. Whether you're leveling up a career or launching a new life, CCBC has got you covered. In fact, CCBC is straight to you. Your local library is now a CCBC classroom. Build career skills and earn college credit right in your backyard. Check out credit and non-credit classes starting in the near future. Click ccbc.edu/fall for more information. Right place, right time. CCBC is right where you need them this fall.
And we continue with the Coach's Corner here from the studio on 7th Avenue here in Beaver Falls, and it's a Beaver Falls night. We got Coach Nick Nardone on my right and Trey Singleton on my left. I'm Bob Barrickman. Want to thank Curtis Walsh and Malik Garrett and Pizza Joe's for providing the pizza and pop for us again this week. Let's talk to our CCBC player of the game for Beaver Falls in that win over New Brighton last week. First of all, Trey, I see on the roster, it's Richard and then Trey in quotation marks, Singleton. And I just want to get a confirmation from you where the trade comes from. I'll let you fill us in.
Well, I'm the third, so like, uno, dos, tres in Spanish is Trey, so they call me Trey because I'm the third.
Okay, so nobody calls you Richard then?
Nope.
Not mom or dad or anyone else in the family?
Nope.
Okay, even Coach calls you Trey. Well, that's okay. So I'm gonna follow suit. Trey, first of all, would you say last week? Now we haven't seen you every week, of course. Would you say last week might have been your coming out party? Would you say that was your best game personally, considering what was at stake?
I mean, I played good all the other games, but I actually like played good in the New Brighton game. I played better, and like they kept calling my touchdowns back, and I was getting frustrated. And then without my teammates and my coaches talking to me, I feel like I wouldn't have came out playing better the second half. And I got an interception and then 3 more touchdowns after that. So it was a big help from my teammates and my coaches.
So you did it on both sides of the line of scrimmage. What side do you like playing better?
I like playing receiver better.
Okay, you like catching the ball better more than hitting people or picking off passes?
I like both, but like I want to go to college for a receiver. I like to score touchdowns and share the love.
Well, it seems like you're on your way. Do you think now I guess at this point of your career, maybe not too many offers have come through because you're still in the middle of your junior season, and hopefully you'll have a lot more games down the road. Do you think it's important? I mean, obviously it's important for the team to keep winning because your goal is to win a championship. But for you individually, the more games you play, the more the colleges are going to notice. Would you agree?
Yeah, hopefully.
Now you're a junior now. Now you also start on the basketball team, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The way that you're talking, though, it sounds like football is going to be in your future and not on the hardwood. But maybe you could fill us in.
Yeah, I play basketball to stay in shape and like work on my footwork and speed and stuff. And I run track also, and it's just helping me for football and everything.
Coach, how much does this young man mean to the success and future success of your program?
I mean, Trey, obviously you've seen what he's been capable of doing over the last several weeks. You get the ball in his hands and good things happen. So with him and all the other athletes we have on the team, we expect big things every time they touch the ball. And like I said, Trey has not let us down this year at any point. When we get him the ball, good things happen. So you're going to see a lot more, just like you have, of Trey Singleton on both sides of the ball, whether it's handoffs, passes, getting interceptions. We have high expectations for him, and I think he has high expectations for himself.
Did you sense coming into the season? Now, last year, you made some big plays, and you win the WPIL championship. How was that? Because you never know if you're going to get back there again. How was that experience?
It was very good, for real. Like, I feel like going to the championship and playing with Josh and them, like, helped me realize that I gotta be a leader and step up for the team next year.
Josh Huff you're referring to, and Shalik Livingston and Tyler Jones. You had 3 good running backs last year. But they graduated, they've moved on. Did you get the sense from the word go that Coach was going to rely on guys like you to up it a notch? Because you were able to lead on that senior leadership last year, but now being only a junior, you've had to take more of a leadership role. Did you know going into the season that more was going to be expected out of you?
Yeah, but we got like our quarterback Jaron and Makai Clark and Carter Thomas and Tyler Kane also helping, and I rely on them to help get through the season, and I think it's going very well. Playing Quip and Blackhawk really made us realize that we got to get our stuff together, and losing to Laurel really was really bad because like we didn't want to lose that game because it was a conference game and we wanted to win like the conference.
Well, you still have time, and you might need a little bit of help. I mean, Laurel still has a couple good teams coming up, but you guys do on Friday night, and we'll have your game on WBVP and 99.3 FM. And I don't know if you look at the schedule on the whole, Trey, coming into the season, you know that Aliquippa's there and Blackhawk. Those are rivals of yours. And then you look at your conference games, and you probably looked at New Brighton because they're next door to you. Mohawk, did that team, when you looked at Mohawk, did you think, boy, this is going to be a monster game for us. This is going to be a really difficult test. Were you thinking of Mohawk at that time, back at the beginning of the year, that they were going to be this good?
I mean, I feel like they're gonna like play hard, and because our quarterback is really big, I feel like it's gonna be a defensive game. If our defense shows up and do what we do, we should win.
Do you feel that your best football for you personally and team-wise are ahead of you?
Yeah. I feel like for the rest of the season, we're just going to go good.
Well, you got Mohawk this Friday night. That's a big one. Trey, we want to congratulate you for being the CCBC player of the game. You made it tough you didn't make it tough for us. The play of your teammates made it tough because we could have gone in a number of different directions, but we chose you, and you deserved it. And hey, you're welcome to go on and win another one Friday night. I'm sure Coach wouldn't mind that a bit. Good luck against Mohawk.
Thank you.
All right, Trey Singleton, one of the fine young players for the Beaver Falls Fighting Tigers. We're going to take a timeout. Our final break. We'll be back to wrap up this edition of the Coach's Corner with Coach Nick Nardone of the Beaver Falls Fighting Tigers here on Beaver County Radio and Facebook Live.
Did you know that the Grand Valley Inn was voted #1 best overall restaurant in the Best of the Valley Reader's Choice Awards 4 years in a row? Grand Valley Inn also has a fun family trivia night Thursday evenings at 6:30 p.m. The Grand Valley Inn is the place where you can also find the best live music under the heated tents. Call 724-843-9000 for more info or to make your reservation for Air Force One on October 8th for only a $10 coverage charge. Grand Valley Inn. Good food, good friends, and good entertainment.
When you're a superhero, you got big responsibilities. This is the Aquaman of Beaver County, Jim Riggio from the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority. The Aquamen and Aquawomen of the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority really do look after the needs of the community, just like real superheroes. The service we provide really is super, and the dedication of our workers can only be described as heroic. We just don't always wear spandex suits and capes. This is the Aquaman of Beaver County, and I'll keep the water on for you. Click bfwater.net.
When you're looking for the Valley's best eye care, look to Gazzetti Optometric Services, 212 State Avenue in Beaver. Dr. John Gazzetti has over 40 years of patient care experience, including exams, contact lens fittings, cataract, glaucoma and dry eye management, laser vision correction, and sports and sun eyewear. For your best vision, make the best decision. Call Gazzetti Optometric Services at 724-774-7559.
And our final segment of this edition of the Coach's Corner on WBVP, WMBA 99.3 FM, and Facebook Live. And we want to thank Pizza Joe's in Beaver for once again providing the refreshments. They've been doing it for probably about 25 years for the Coach's Corner. We can't say enough about their commitment to high school sports. Nick Nardone. Now, Nick, we had your star junior Trey Singleton, and you said that he's a quiet guy, man of a few words. Well, actions speak louder than words. Absolutely. He makes his voice known on the field. How's he like in the school? How's he like in practice? Is he a quiet guy all the way around? Is that him, or it wasn't just nervousness on his part?
Yeah, Trey just goes about his business, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's on the practice field, or on Friday nights. Trey does Trey. He makes plays. He does what's asked of him. But there's not a lot of rah-rah. There's not a lot of talking. He just does his thing.
Well, I guess you need a rah-rah type. I mean, who would be a rah-rah type on your team if one qualifies?
I don't know how many we have this year. We had a few last year. Some of those seniors, you couldn't get them to shut up. But Tyler Kane is a vocal leader on the defensive side of the ball for us, for sure. And we really counted on Jaron a lot on offense, like I said, to be out there, and obviously calling the plays, checking the audibles, whatever he needs to do, and getting the offense ready and where they need to be. So, but yeah, we're not a lot of rah-rah guys on this year's team. We sometimes got to ask them to get excited and ask them to celebrate a little bit. So.
Well, you got a lot of youth.
Yes.
Isaiah Ashbacher, he's a junior, right?
yeah.
Then you have Trey Singleton, and you have Jaron Brickner. Your line, which was pretty much senior-oriented last year, you have a lot of underclassmen up front, don't you?
Yeah, we have one senior that starts for us up front, Anthony Kauser. But other
Yeah.
than that, we have a couple of juniors, a couple of sophomores that rotate on offense, and on defense, it's one senior on that side of the ball too, and everybody else is an underclassman. So yeah, we got some youth up front for sure, but they're growing. As our team's growing and getting better, those linemen are growing and getting better, and we're happy to see the progress that they're starting to make for sure.
Coach, let's talk about your staff, because any coach who would come on this show certainly would say, hey, it's not all about me. You need good lieutenants on your side. You need good players. And fortunately, you've been blessed with that most of your coaching career. Let's talk about your staff, though, to help you make it possible to win all these games.
Yeah, I mean, I like you said, I've been truly blessed to have some great minds to help these kids become good football players, great football players. On the defensive side of the ball, Jake Wickline runs our defense. He's been with me since I started. When I was calling the defense, he was my booth guy all the way back when Ryan brought me on as the D coordinator. So me and Wick have been together for a while. Bruce Davidson has been at Beaver Falls forever. Love Coach D. He helps the defensive line. Him and BJ McBride, a former player, had his Division I experience, NFL experience. So we've been lucky enough to get BJ to come help us out. And Mike Nypaver played at NA and Duquesne, came on and helps me out with the linebackers. And then offensively, we have Brandon Rue coaches our quarterbacks, does a great job with Jaron, and Dwight Collins coaches our wide receivers. So obviously there's no doubt why our wideouts have excelled this year with Dwight's life experiences and everything that he can bring, X's and O's, guidance, discipline. I mean, he does a lot for our team. And Jim Mooney, along with Bruce and BJ, Jim Mooney, who is a Monaca guy and played at Cal, coaches our offensive line and does a great job helping me with the run schemes and getting those linemen ready. So it's a small staff, but it's a very, very wise staff that has a lot of football years.
A lot of celebrities.
Yeah.
I mean, former NFL players, Dwight Collins, B.J. McBride, and the other guys who you noted who have been like Bruce Davidson. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it seems like he's the first grad from Beaver Falls. But all kidding aside, though, but he always has that enthusiasm.
Absolutely.
He's always out there. You could always rely on him.
Absolutely.
Another guy you could rely on, the athletic director, and it's not just football. Jim Carbone is one of the best, and it's no secret that usually when you have a good program, there is a good athletic director behind it. Football, basketball. I mean, on Jim's watch, you've won a state championship in football. You've won a couple in basketball as a school, and he finds a way to get it done. You got to feel that Jim Carbone is a rock in your favor to have.
Absolutely. And Jimmy does so much behind the scenes that a lot of people don't realize and appreciate all that he does do. So, like you said, the staffs and the coaches that he's been able to bring on and bring into Beaver Falls is the reason why Beaver Falls programs have been able to be so successful, because of the support we get from our athletic department and the ability of Jimmy to get great coaches in.
Ryan Matzuk, who was your mentor last year, he coached Western Beaver, but we knew for a while that he was looking to go up in the administrative world, and he now has a nice position at Moon. Yeah. Does the football ever come out of him? Do you still talk with Brian on occasion about football and the future of Beaver Falls Mighty Tigers?
Absolutely. The night we lost to Laurel, Ryan was the first person I talked to.
Wow.
I called.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a great relationship with Ryan, a relationship that'll probably never go away. I mean, and it's not just a football relationship. We've become great friends over the years, and he's been a mentor to me, not just in the football and coaching aspects, but just in education and as a teacher and the path that I possibly want to take with my future. He offers me all kinds of guidance. So, yeah, I communicate with Ryan often, more after losses than wins. But he's somebody that's had a huge impact on me and who I am and where I'm at professionally as a coach and as a teacher.
Our lineup this Friday night, Mohawk at Beaver Falls, will be on the air at 6:30. Jim Eccles joins me on WNBA. It'll be Micah Zadian and Jason Colangelo. Fort Cherry at Rochester, a big game in the Big Seven. And on Saturday, we have Geneva at Grove City. Airtime 1:30, 2 o'clock kickoff. Coach, obviously a big one Friday night. You passed one test against New Brighton. If you beat Mohawk, and I know that's a big if, but if you beat Mohawk, then you're in a position where you can, if you hold serve the rest of the way, and I know Neshannock's still on the other side of the schedule too, but at least you have a chance to be looking at possibly winning a conference championship if the chips fall your way, but at least getting a home game in the upcoming playoffs. This is a big one, though. You lose, and you're probably looking at, well, maybe we could get in, but we'll have to go on the road, versus a win where it's like, hey, we keep doing this, we're going to get a home game, and who knows how far we'll finish in the standings. But this is a swing game. It could go, probably at least most people would think, hey, this could go either way. Sizes one up, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, Mohawk, we've seen them on film. We've been breaking them down for about a week now, and they bring a lot to the table, and they have a lot to prepare for. I mean, they've, like Trey said, they have a very, very impressive quarterback. And wideouts all over the field that can catch the ball. They run the ball well. They have a big line. I mean, this is a truly big test for us, and like you said, it has huge playoff implications.
Coach, how do all of a sudden, I mean, they seem to have caught fire overnight. They lost to Rochester, which is a very good single A team. They lost to them 30-3. I know they lost earlier. They were started out 1-2. What do you think, watching them on film? I don't know if you've seen all their games on film, but what do you think's been the key to their turnaround? All of a sudden, Mohawk is a big topic. You just a month ago, we probably wouldn't even have thought it was that big of a game.
They've been able to really force turnovers and play really good defense on the defensive side of the ball to hold Neshannock, who's a gifted offense, to 7 points is very impressive. And New Brighton had all kinds of weapons, and I think they were able to force at least 3, maybe 4 turnovers in that game. They make the most of the defensive side of the ball. So like Trey said, we expect a defensive struggle, and we have to be careful with the ball, and we have to be productive when the ball's in our hands. And like I said, their quarterback is very gifted. So if we take a step back defensively, it could be trouble for us.
Well, put on a good show for us Friday night, Coach.
We hope to.
Thanks a lot. Always appreciate the visit.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Nick Nardone, the head coach of the Beaver Falls Fighting Tigers. For Nick Nardone and one of his star players, Trey Singleton, our CCBC player of the game last week. For our good friends from Pizza Joe's and Beaver, Curtis Walsh, Malik Garrett, I'm Bob Barrickman. So long, everyone. We'll talk to you Friday night, 6:30 at the ballparks right here on Beaver County Radio and Facebook Live.